So we have a wonderful combination of traditional artists and photographers. So we have a nice combination of people who want to know about Etsy and are on Etsy. And the reason we have this is so that we can look at Etsy. Oh, one last little ad thing. We have a new application on our manalprinting.com website, which is our wholesale website. If you're not familiar with it, schedule an appointment with myself or Jess. We'll show you how you can upload your files, size them yourself, get immediate pricing. I mean, you can do a lot of that already, but we're just super excited by our new technological advances.
Nice.
Thank you.
So it won't be stuck in my phone anymore.
It will not be stuck in your phone. So how many people here are already on Etsy? 5. 5.5.
5.5. Who's the half?
You look like your hand was like this.
Actually, she does have half. I think we
Is she a
You
half?
have one on it. One.
And I'm going to encourage people to sort of like come around.
Just
You have
one.
one
It
product?
doesn't count.
Okay. So
Every little bit counts.
every little bit counts.
But
So I would like to give the 5.5 people the opportunity to introduce themselves, because what we have is a list of questions. This is not Jerry's going to stand up here and talk tonight thing. I don't have the patience for that. You didn't come to hear me tonight. You'll come hear me another night. But I'd like, we have some careful plants, some begonias, some mother-in-law tongues in the audience. Sorry, that was a plant joke, Scott. And so the format of tonight's conversation, and we are recording because we've got a lot of people who wanted to come and couldn't. The format of tonight's conversation is we're going to start by having the people with experience on Etsy just introduce themselves and explain who they are, and then we're going to fire questions at them. We're going to nicely ask questions of them. I have a list of questions from people who wanted to be here tonight and couldn't. So if it gets too quiet for too long, I have filler. And the goal of this evening is so that those of us who are not on Etsy feel like you can make a choice and a decision. Yes, I do want to further pursue this. This might be a good marketing avenue for my my art. This might be a good avenue, yet my art currently is not correct, and so I'm going to give it some more thought. Or, I am backing away from this thing, I got enough to do already, I'm going to go in another direction, or something else. Is that good? Is that fair? Is there anybody else that had any other goal of tonight besides to come eat my meatballs and drink no wine? Okay. Awesome. Can we start with you?
Sure.
Okay. Now you're supposed to introduce yourself.
What do I do? Stand up or something?
Yeah, sure.
Come on. All right. My name is Daphne McDowell. I'm a jewelry designer or jewelry artist. I have a boutique over in South Tampa. I've been in doing this about 14 years, but I've had my brick and mortar store about 9 years next month. And I'm on Etsy, and I also have a website. So I originally started out with Etsy, but for some reason I didn't make any sales. I couldn't understand it. And so I found out about a WordPress website, so I started developing that. So I started getting attention that way. And then all of a sudden, out of the blue, my Etsy site started getting sales, and I was like, what's happening? And I think the trick for me is when you sell jewelry, everybody in the world sells jewelry. Mom, uncles, children, they're all selling jewelry. And Etsy has millions of artists on that website. And my specialty right now is copper jewelry. And so if you Google something copper jewelry, you may find 900,000 results. And so the key for me, I think, has been that I found a niche or a niche. And that is, why are the people buying the jewelry? Why would someone need to have jewelry? Because really nobody needs it. It's not a necessity.
Mad.
Yeah, but when it comes down to can you pay like paying bills and stuff like that. But a reason you need something is there's an anniversary, there's a birthday. So I started marketing my Etsy shop with anniversaries. 7th anniversary, 22nd anniversary, you need to have something that's copper. And like the first year is paper or gold or something like that. So I found an area where if you don't have a 1-year anniversary or a 7-year anniversary, you're in trouble at home. Okay, so I think that's what's taking it over the top. So I just checked my my app just now, and I've done about almost $3,000 in the past 30 days on Etsy. The majority of those sales are copper jewelry.
You want to pull your side up real quick?
I can see.
Okay. Well, I don't want to put you on the spot.
Show me. Let me see.
Pull up Simple Grace.
Here, I'll do it. Tell me what it should be, and I'll do it.
Simple Grace's jewelry.
Okay, and you keep talking.
So I found a great video on YouTube. That video speaks about how to actually set up your Etsy site. And the first guy that comes on talks about SEO. So SEO is the most important thing in the whole wide world. And that's search engine optimization. So that means that you need to know what your customers are searching for. You can't use a fancy trade phrase that nobody knows. Some people know Swarovski crystal, but some people know that the 3rd year and the 15th year, that's me, is for the 3rd year and 15th year, that's crystal. So I'll put Swarovski, but I'll put something like a phrase, and you only get 20 characters on Etsy. So crystal jewelry might be one. Swarovski jewelry, because you can't do Swarovski crystal jewelry, that's too many characters. Crystal bracelet. But then what will get you found is when you put 3rd year anniversary gift or 15th year anniversary. And one of the key things too with Etsy is when you start to, let's say you want to find something, and whether it's art or whatever it is, you start typing. You know how Google autofills and completes your search?
Yes.
Those are words that are searched often, search terms that are searched on a regular basis. So I would put in 7th anniversary, and I would find that 7th anniversary came up before 7th anniversary gifts. So I focus on the anniversaries, and I'm quite sure, like, you can use canvas, that's like cotton, right? You know, you can work it in where people are searching for something they need, and not because something they just, maybe I buy it today, maybe I won't. But last night I was up till 11 o'clock. There's this guy trying to buy something online, and I didn't have an overnight shipping because sometimes I can't get it to you overnight. So I think too, when you set your shop up, the main thing, SEO, your title, make sure that the most important term is listed in the beginning. So like if someone needs a 7th anniversary gift or a copper jewelry or copper necklace, I make sure I follow the guidelines based on Google. So Google will only show the first 60 characters of your title. So if you're going on and you're naming your picture, let's say it's called Blue Mood. Nobody's looking for that. They may be looking for blue acrylic or blue artwork or blue abstract or something like that. So you start out with phrases and things that people search for. And then another thing, in your description, I try to make sure that those major keywords are listed first in my description. And throughout the body, repeat it several times without stuffing and spamming. You know, so if you put it in, like in the title, you may have copper necklace or 7th anniversary gift, and just change the phrases up. Those same things go into your description. Then when it comes down to the tags, you only get, is it 13 tags? 13 tags.
Plus your categories, they add those as tags.
So I major discovery I found was that you don't have to put, like when you're doing your tags, don't waste it on, like for me, jewelry, because they automatically put it in there, and rather than getting 13 tags, you get 16 or 15.
And nobody's gonna search for just jewelry anyway. So
Right.
It's sort of like a waste of
Right.
Sorry, not to.
No, you're right though.
But you're totally right. Like,
So it's like it's there. So, but you focus on those same words that are in the beginning and try to put them in those blocks. And I just started focusing on crystal jewelry and pearl jewelry. So those sales are now starting to kick in. So, and I go in every so often and I check my dashboard, and if I only have 3 views, and I'm like, something's wrong here. I need to go in and I just move it around, and I go to the competition, crystal jewelry, and find out what did they do different from me. So it's all about research when it comes to Etsy. I think I talked enough. Any
That's
questions?
awesome. There'll be more.
Okay.
Well done. Well done.
We'll hit you up for more questions. Did you have a question, or you want to talk next, or?
No, are we doing questions later, or? You can do
There's no rules here.
Okay,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Go for
You
it.
mentioned dashboard, no clue.
Inside Etsy or any other, like even if you have a website,
I'll log
Your
in
dash-
since.
your dashboard is basically where you go to upload your items. And then Etsy is so awesome that it actually has a list of how many times people have seen it, how many you've sold, so you know what your top selling items are and how much you've made off of them and how much you spent in order to make the money.
Does anybody need a hard surface to write on, or paper or pen, by the way?
So Etsy has a dashboard?
It's a
Basically
great
just like
dashboard.
any website where you have an account, you know,
Right.
Amazon, Gmail, anything that you log into, it takes you to a page that looks different from what you see before you're logged in. So that's just their dashboard, and so I just to go along with what you were saying, your whole shop section. So you can go in, you can access
Yeah,
all your
that's
stats,
it.
your orders, you know, your settings and everything. So the stats is like a huge thing.
So you want to talk about stats real quick?
Oh, sure.
Since you're standing up there?
Yeah, I mean, and I didn't mean to, if anybody else has questions, but whatever.
This is
Super casual.
introduce yourself.
So, hi, I'm Christina, and my shop is Franny and Frankie Designs, and I opened my Etsy shop in September 2013. I've had a little bit of a different journey than maybe, I don't know, maybe not, but I'm not a classically, traditionally, professionally trained artist. I am self-taught, and I actually went to school for journalism and worked in that field for like 12 years. And then I opened my Etsy shop after I had my son because I needed a creative outlet, and I had been having to train myself in graphic design for my job. So I sort of had some knowledge of that, and it just grew from there. And I had no idea, like I had no. So I actually opened my Etsy shop as the first step before I even got back into my art, because I had been doing it for many, many years, but I never considered it to be like something that you could make money off of, because starving artists. Hello. So anyway, Etsy was like a super like low barrier to entry type of way for me to test the water, because I didn't have to get a lease, I didn't have to buy a whole bunch of inventory, I didn't have to stock other people's stuff. You know, I would just pay the listing fees, which they can get excessive, but it's part of Etsy's business model. You know, so all you have to do is pay 20 cents per listing, and then when you sell something, they take a transaction fee, and it all adds up to like 7% in fees. But and in exchange, I had access to this huge audience of people who were going to Etsy to look for products like mine. And I love that you started out with SEO right away, because that's the biggest thing, because you know the goal of SEO is to get found. But the biggest component that you touched on was by people who are looking for stuff like yours. You know, so it doesn't do you any good to stuff your descriptions with stuff like Chanel and Taylor Swift and like keywords that are, you know what I mean? If that's like a basic principle of SEO, is it's misdirection. What you want to do is capture the people that are looking for your work. So if you're an abstract artist, you know, putting abstract painting, blue abstract painting, and all of that. Anyway, that's just reiterating how important that is that Daphne mentioned that. So stats, since I pulled it up and we had had a question about dashboards, the stats are good and bad. It's a double-edged blade, because there's a group in the area called the Tampa Bay Etsy Crew that's like a networking group, not associated with Etsy professionally, but it's just like this, of Etsy sellers in the Tampa Bay area. And they were giving out Etsy swag at one of the events, and there was one that was like, I'm addicted to shop stats. Because literally when I opened my shop, I was in shop stats like all day long, all day. If the sell on Etsy app had existed when I opened my shop, I would have gotten nothing done, because I was obsessed with my stats. But what this does is, anytime you have, you know, and if you have, how many people in here have a business for their art, a website for their art business? Okay, how many people have no web presence at all for their art business? Okay, that's good to know. So I'll keep it. So whenever you have a website, whether it's through Etsy or through a platform like Shopify or your own website or it's on a blog on WordPress, there's going to be an analytics dashboard that shows you who's visited your pages, who's interacted with them, how they've gotten there. And it varies by platform, but this is what Etsy's looks like. So you can customize it to show you your activity. You can just look at today, or you can even do a custom range. Whenever I make I'm getting ahead of myself. So it shows you views, it shows you the number of people that have favorited your item, and it shows you orders and revenue. So when we talk about getting found in Etsy's search bar, if somebody does search for sterling silver jewelry, and if you make sterling silver jewelry, you've used that as a keyword because it's a good one, and they find you. I've totally lost track. I hate talking in front of people. I get so nervous that I am always thinking about the next thing I'm going to say, and then I lose track of myself. But the biggest part of getting found and getting found highly are your tags that Daphne mentioned. But then a whole bunch of other stuff factors into their algorithm for how highly you rank. So the number of favorites that your items have gotten, the recency, how recently you've renewed it, how much activity there is, and that's a big part of SEO on any website is how fresh the content is. Web search engines, whether it's Google or Etsy's, will favor websites that have recency. So the more sales you make, the more your items are renewing, and it's sort of like a tumbleweed. The point of that is that it takes time. So when I was like obsessively in my stats in the beginning, I was like every little thing I was agonizing over. And I was like, well, I'm getting a ton of views, but I'm not this. And it was all just a numbers game, because for me, I had to grow organically. Like I had no idea what I was doing, so I wasn't like, I'm gonna grow my art business and this is how, because I didn't even know I had an arts business. I just had a few listings up. And once I started making more. And then I started making more, and then I started having more to list. And the more listings I had in my shop, the more keywords I had, and the more chance I had to get found. So if somebody was looking for a state art print, and by finding one of my listings they found Arkansas, but they wanted California, they've got all these related items in the sidebar, and they might go, oh look, she's got a whole bunch of other states, maybe she has California. So that was the biggest thing to growing mine, is that I had to keep it active. I had to keep listing items. A really good way to come up with multiple listings when you have a limited inventory is to make a listing by size. So you may want to make your shop look more full and give yourself more of a chance to get found. Make one listing for your 8x10 art prints of a photograph that you took, and make a separate listing for a desk calendar of photographs that you took. I think a tendency of ours is to kind of be brief and to just be modest about what we've taken this photograph, and here's all the products that you can put it on. And that is a model of a lot of different websites. Like you go to Cafe Press, you can buy this photograph on a mug, a shirt, a mouse pad, a poster, whatever. But the more listings we have, the more chance we have to get found.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
There's a difference of opinion if you're going to start your Etsy site. What's the minimum number of listings you should have?
So I don't think that there is an answer to that question, but I can tell you my experience, which is I started out by going, okay, I'm going to put up like the 10 most popular states, whatever I think those are. Got my husband's input, and
You want to show us your pieces?
Yeah, sure.
Right.
And you make prints of states. I still don't know what you
Yeah, so I do a variety of things, but what I started out with was this design. And so I did a state that was made up of hearts. So it was largely graphic design. So I put up like the 10 most popular states, and then it took me a couple of months to get my first sale. So it happened very, very slowly, but once it started happening, I opened my shop in September, and it was the holiday season. So I read a lot of the documentation on Etsy about SEO, about how their search engine works, they have a great, huge seller handbook of blog posts and seller interviews and whatnot. Yeah. And this is an example of one design that I've created actually 4 or 5 different listings for, because I have this design in a solid color. So I have like my 12 different colors as an option on that listing because I think it's a little much to have 50 states and 12 different listings for 50 states for each color. But all my solids are one listing, all my coppers are another listing for the exact reason that Daphne mentioned, because people search copper artwork all the time for anniversary presents. I have a faux gold foil art print that people search for all the time. I have a watercolor one, and I have a digital wood that I put behind the hearts. So I have 4 watercolor, copper, gold, solid, and wood. And I don't feel like that's excessive because, like, if I'm searching for a necklace and you make your same necklace in gold and in silver, I have a preference for silver personally. So when I go to a website like Amazon or Etsy and I search for a product that I know I'm looking for, I'm going to be as specific as I know I want to be. And I know I don't like gold, so I'm not going to search for gold jewelry. I'm going to want to narrow that down to silver jewelry because I don't want to sift through 1,000 results of a necklace when I know I don't want the gold ones. So that's why I think.
So when you list something more than once, that's the same exact item, how do you keep it from showing up too close together? Like how you separate it? Because if you, like, I can put the same copper necklace and put it in crystal because it has Swarovski crystals in it, and then it has copper. How do you avoid having it look like you're just duplicating?
I think that comes, I honestly think that comes from intention. And I think that when you know what you're doing, when you know I'm duplicating this listing because I know that my customers are going to be actively searching for this other thing and I want to help them find it,
Right.
rather than I'm just going to create a whole bunch of listings because then I'll get found all the time.
So you rearrange
I
the
think-
keywords.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to jump in on this?
When
Yeah.
you just talked about the I'm there in a painter, a fine artist, but we have an original painting here listed on Etsy, and we have a print here right beside it, and you're right, you've got the same image twice
Yeah.
there.
Right next to each other.
So
Right.
I
Different
started
prices.
saying just put them on a different page, put them on page 2 or put them on page 3, and then people can kind of look to different pages to see, so it doesn't look like you've got duplicates of every item on the first page. It uses up your whole first page with duplicate items. So
And-
I just move them to the other pages.
So in the
So-
setting up of your listing, you have the ability to say, I want this one on page
This
5
page, one-
versus this one
yeah,
on page
well,
1.
Yeah, on page 5 or 6. So you
Right,
can
when they
keep
go to
going
your
on
shop,
further
not how
pages.
they show up in the search.
That's right.
listing,
But you
right.
physically have to go in and manually drag it from page.
So you
or
can
you
drag
say
it.
move to
You've
page.
got to
Well, you
do
can say
it.
move to
Is this
page
your stuff?
5.
I didn't
move
know
to
that.
page
No,
2, move to
no,
page
I'm
3.
actually searching for, because some people handle it different ways. So
And
so
you
mine
can
sort
physically
of
drag them as well.
right.
But you can just say move to page 2, move to page 3, and then it moves your silver over to this page, and gold to page. All gold's on 4, all
Okay.
silver's on 5.
But another idea, and it's a good idea because if you do have 2 of the same thing that share many of the same keywords except for the format or the material, you're worried about them coming up too close in search and it looking weird.
Yeah.
So what I'm looking for is what some people will do. Mine sort of naturally separates itself because you can tell that one's solid, one's copper, one's watercolor. But what some people will do is they'll put a little graphic using Photoshop or whatever their graphics program is. So if they have, like, for instance, my 16 by 20s, I use an outside printer. My 8 by 10s and 11 by 14s, I print at home. They're different materials because my printer just doesn't have the materials that I use, and I'm fine with that. So I created 2 separate listings because I didn't want to have to confuse the customer by breaking down the different papers and all that stuff. So I put a little bubble on my 16 by 20 listing so it's the same photo, listing photo as my 8 by 10 listing, but it says 16 by 20. So they can see at a glance, even though these products look identical, oh, there's the difference. There's a little burst there. So that's another option, if that answers that. Just going back to stats, because I feel like I drifted a little bit, and I don't want to talk too long, so tell me to shut up if you need.
I have a question with stats.
Mm-hmm.
For your stats, views, and favorites that people have done, how do you contact them? Is there a way to?
I don't. So the ones that haven't sold, that you
No,
haven't
no,
had
no. For the
anything?
people, you've got 503 people that think that you're
Right.
their favorites. How do you contact them?
That's super controversial because it actually, Etsy considers that to be spamming if you contact somebody without them opting in to receiving material from you, even if it's a one-on-one email. Because I know that for me, sometimes I'm just browsing and I favorite a whole bunch of stuff because I know someday I might want to get it. And I would get turned off if I immediately got an email from a shop owner going, oh, hey, blah, blah, blah. And it's like an intuitive thing to do, right? Because we're so used to promoting ourselves, but it's a little bit different with e-commerce, and especially with
Bad
Etsy, it tends to
etiquette.
be off-putting.
Yeah. Does anybody else have any, you want to comment on that?
That being said, go ahead.
About stats, and I don't know if you can answer this, because maybe that's the expert here. So how do you use the stats to call out call your different keywords and your tags. You got 13 tags and you've got categories, but you can change the tags, you can change the categories. And there's effective tags and non-effective tags.
Right.
So how do you analyze it in stats to find out what are the tags that are selling and which one should I dump? I haven't found
That's
out
a
how
great
you-
question. So what I have found to be most effective for me so far is to take my stats out to the last 30 days. And then I go down here and it will show me, first of all, it shows me my traffic sources, which is very useful to see if I'm featured on a blog or on a website, because sometimes they don't tell me. So I can find, oh hey, I got it featured over on this wedding blog. Then you go down here to top keywords. And what this does is it tells you how many times somebody typed in this phrase and landed in your shop.
What's that phrase?
Save the date postcard. So in the past 30 days, I can see that my number one keyword phrase that brought people to my shop was save the date postcard, and that 67 people came from that.
Oh.
Now, if I have a system set up where every 30 days I'm checking my stats and I've already got all my keyword phrases in a spreadsheet, this becomes easier as you do it more. It's a lot of work in the beginning, but if you're interested in analytics, I compile all my keywords into a spreadsheet and then I come back every 30 days and I see how they're doing. There may be events coming up that I totally blanked on because I'm a scatterbrain. You know, there may be anniversary keywords that come up all of a sudden. People that featured me, and then the keywords are coming up. So you can go in here, and if you see that there is, for instance, a keyword phrase that I used all the time in the beginning was something like heart map artwork, and it never came up in my top keywords. Like in 115 pages of my top keywords that took people to my shop, heart map art print may not have shown up once. So I know I may not want to use that one. That's a waste.
Yeah, okay.
I may want to see, and also these will come up even if these aren't tags in your shop. So I may have 0 listings that have the tag branding package, but for some reason I'm getting 19 views from people that typed in branding package. That's a good hint that I may want to add that keyword to more listings because it's a good one. And so you'll be able to, and it'll constantly change, you know, and even the popular thing that Daphne pointed out that I love, when you type it in and it starts to autofill it for you, that'll change because it's based on the popular views on that site at the time. So I think the number one thing with stats is makes changes on a small scale. If you've got 100 listings in your shop, test out 20, 10, 20. Don't change it on all 100 because if it doesn't work, that's a lot of work. It's silly. So test it out on a small scale, keep track of the listings that you made your changes on, and give it some time to kick in, 7 to 30 days. So you can do the last 7 days or the last 30 days. That way, you know, because sometimes those changes take time to register and to get more traction. Yeah.
This is probably not stats, but do customers rate you on blogs and things to say quality of the product was great, shipped to me beautifully, everything was intact, blah blah blah, or conversely, product was cheap, took forever to get to me, and that kind of thing. Do they do that?
So within Etsy, there is a ratings and review system. So they do have the opportunity to review your item. If everything is cool, it's cool. If they give you a rating of 3 stars or below, you can respond to it publicly. And once you respond to it publicly, that review can't be changed. So it's like sort of a customer service issue. And that's another big thing that I did want to mention. I've talked way too long. But about Etsy being a marketplace rather than a platform. If you have Shopify, which is an e-commerce platform that you use to sell your products, it's on your own site. If you use something like Etsy or Amazon or eBay, you're subject to terms of service. So it is important to keep up customer service and to be committed to running that part of your business because they have been known to terminate shops that have extreme negative feedback that hasn't been addressed. The last thing that I want to say is that there is a Etsy workshop at the Greenhouse in St. Pete.
Good.
And did you want me to mention it now?
You can mention it now.
Okay, I thought you were going to say something.
No. Keep going.
Okay. And if you don't know about them, it's a combination of the City of St. Pete and the St. Pete Chamber of Commerce, and it's a business development center, stpetegreenhouse.com.
It's a really cool place. If you haven't
Really
been down there, it's
Free business
wonderful.
advice, free help with business plans.
Our tax dollars at work.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Classes on QuickBooks, legal structures, intellectual property, business financing, most of which are free or very, very cheap, like $10 or less.
Do you have to be a St. Petersburg resident?
No. So what we are doing is the greenhouse has partnered with Etsy to have this workshop called the Etsy Craft Entrepreneurship Program, which they bring to either underserved or artist-rich communities that they know might be interested in Etsy. And so it's October 10th, 17th, and 24th. It's 3 Saturdays in October.
I'll send out an email to everybody that's
Yeah,
here.
I apologize that I don't
Yeah.
have flyers. Carly's still working out the details. So
No problem. I'll definitely, because that's part of the reason for getting all of the.
yeah.
Let's bring some more people up.
Yep.
You can talk about this. No, this is
Yeah.
this is absolutely part of the reason why she's here.
And then I started babbling.
Yes, Barbara.
What are the prices on these things? Someone told me recently that everything has to be $100 or less for it to really sell. Is that true? Or,
You,
I
you're gonna
didn't
come
seem to
up.
think that when I was looking at it.
Okay, well, I'm not,
Well, first of all, Barbara said, do you have anything on your site that's over $100?
I have, yes, I have lots of stuff that's over
And does it sell?
I just sold one 2 days ago that you brought here.
Yeah.
It's a $2,100 item.
Is that good enough for you?
And I didn't think we could sell it. We have an eBay business and we sell 400 or 500 items a week we have on eBay. So that's my wife's main business. I retired from medicine. I have nothing to do, so I started selling my artwork on Etsy. And I'm not too tech savvy, but Etsy is the easiest platform that I've ever seen to use. If you people aren't using it, you need to get on there and start using it because it's so user friendly. You can just, their dashboard is so quick and easy to fill in all your items like this. So now I have probably, 60, 70 paintings and prints
What's the name
on
of the site?
Etsy. It's called Lawrence Dyer Fine Art. And we have, so maybe 60 items listed. And a lot of them are original paintings, so they're going to be $2,000, $6,000 like that. And we've only had the site up for a couple months, and already we're selling quite a few prints. So it depends what the person is looking for, right?
Okay, and so you're Lawrence?
I'm Lawrence.
Yes, thank you.
And if you're a fine artist and you're trying to sell on Etsy, there's 25 million other fine artists. Everybody and their brother's a fine artist, including my own. So it's hard to get. That's our site, and it's hard to get up in the SEO search engine things. And we've done it. We've done all. Etsy just changed from recency to relevancy in their keywords.
What does that mean?
That means that when your tags, 2 words is better than 1 word. 3 words is better than 2 words. So you want to use up, they now say in your 13 tags, you want to try to use up all of the tag spaces to give the crawlers something more to look at. So, so we've done all that. We've done all the right tags. When I first started, and of course your title is the most important thing, and I would have a painting, this painting of the horses, right? And I would give the name of the painting in the title. This is a huge mistake. I would say this is a couple friends' horses. The horse is named Polo and the other is named Yahtzee. So my title was the title of the painting, Polo and Yahtzee in the mountains. Size is 36 by 42. No hits because no one searches for Polo and Yahtzee or by the size. And so you never put the size in your title because no one ever searches by size and no one ever searches by the name of the painting. So then I said, I learned this from taking a course from someone else, that you try to think of the most relevant tags, and that's in your title, despite what you want it to say, beautiful horse, or what you just. So I had to tag it with Freesdale. That's the kind of horse, Freesdale horses, oil painting by Lawrence Dyer kind of thing. So you eliminate anything that they wouldn't search for in the tag. And so we've done all that correctly, and still when you search for a painting, a horse painting, I come up on like page 600. So no one's ever gonna find us. So I was here tonight hoping someone could tell me how you use the shop stats and how to increase your visibility to get higher, to come up on page 1 or page 2, okay? And my wife, she does a lot of the shop stats stuff, and she said, now you can purchase, you can go ahead and buy, she paid $20 for hits today, and if you buy $20 for hits today, you come on page 1.
I was going
And
to
that's
ask how many people are
absolutely,
buying
it
promotions.
blew me away. So, and I don't know anything about this because she told me to ask the question tonight. So you can buy hits and come up on page 1. So, Christy, do you know?
Promoted posts.
I just had, the one thing I wanted to say is Etsy does have promoted posts, but
Right.
I usually wouldn't buy anything. It's not an outside thing, right? It's through Etsy.
Yeah, it's through Etsy, right.
Yeah, it's sort of like Google Ads. But
It's
the one
like
thing
Google
I was going
Ads.
to say
That's
is,
right, yeah.
if you, because you said when you search for horse painting, I come up on like the 4th or 5th page. Why don't you might want to try starting your title with horse painting.
Well, yeah, we do. We do that. We would say
Oh,
horse
okay.
painting. Horse would be the first word. Right? And this one, I don't know. I didn't do this one, but she just did this a couple of days
Yeah,
ago.
that
And
was
this is this original sold in like 2 days on Etsy like that. But again, this is a big mistake. She shouldn't have written Mountain Mare and Foal Horse Farm because no one's going to search by Mountain Mare. They don't know what that's meaningless to me. So I don't know how she sold it, but that's a print of it. But she sold the original and prints with the wrong title here. You know.
So what does it cost to keep the
Well, the listings only cost you 80 cents, I think, is the total
20
to make the
cents.
listing, and then that's it. Unless you then take a little bit if you sell the item. So it's virtually virtually
how
free.
long? Is that per month or?
4 months.
Yeah, I think that's for four months. So that the cost is nothing, not compared. eBay takes a big chunk of our fees
When you sell.
when we sell. They take a big chunk. This virtually you pay for your listing, and they take a small percentage at the end. So it's very cost effective to be in this. That's just a bad listing. I don't
Hold
know.
on,
Again.
Lorraine and then Daphne.
Has anybody who's on Etsy, who's sold on Etsy, have you ever had anything returned? Has anybody ever wanted
Yeah.
to return something, and how
Yes.
do you handle that?
Yeah. I shouldn't see him. I just found Manal Art, and and Scott did another horse for me and a print, and I sent it out. And I told him to hurry up and send it to this lady because she wanted this horse print. She gets the horse print, and she says, "I don't like the quality of this print. I was going to hang it over my fireplace. I want to give it back." So on eBay and on Etsy, we have 100% refund. We always ship within 24 hours. We always refund 100% of the money. It doesn't matter how much you have to bite your tongue to this person. So I said, "Send it back. I'll give you your money back." So I did. And she sent it back. It looked fine to me, but it didn't look fine to her. So 3 days later, we had another horse painting on here, and she said, "I'm going to buy that one instead. I like it." So that's the one I asked Scott to send out this week. So we kept the customer by refunding the money. She sent us the money for the other print, which was more money. So we always refund money. It's so much, and we do a lot of business on eBay. It's huge. We bring in containers from Shanghai, China, and sell import-export goods, and we always refund 100% of their money. It's so much easier than fighting with them. We're trying to make, unless something gets smashed and you have to make a claim, it's very difficult. So we just give them the money back, send the item back, give them a call tag, and away you go.
You had to refund.
I just wanted to say also you have an opportunity to put shop policies when you set up your shop. So it's
Yes.
important that whatever your policy is,
Yes.
if to decide what's right for you and to put it in your shop policies and put it in as
I
many
wish we
places
could
as
show
you
that
can.
in here where
That way
the
you're
policy
covered.
is.
If there is something that you're not okay with and somebody's pushing you on it, you can, because when they buy, they're agreeing to your shop policies.
Yeah, the shop policy is very important. You have to set up your shop policy, and it's important to say we ship within 28 hours or we ship within 2 weeks, because people don't want to wait 2 weeks to get their item, and then plus the shipping time. So a short shipping time is good, and it's good to say we bubble wrap our jewelry and put it in cardboard box, and we do this for you. We let you know what to expect, because you get some stuff. I've ordered stuff off Etsy and crystal and stuff, and it came lousily packed and all broken, and then they wanted me to make a claim, about this. So it's important to tell them this is what we do to pack your item carefully, and we give you 100% refund if you don't like it. And it's very rare we have to give people money back.
Do you ship by UPS?
We ship all international. We ship all international by post office. We ship all
Post office.
domestic with UPS. Yeah, unless it's a small item. And small items we ship.
How do you package? Do you have to package it?
We
Or
package.
will they do it for you?
No. We package everything. Yeah. Oh no. And we have a 3,000 square foot facility where we package our items and stuff and ship them all out. So we put that in our policy, as you said, on Etsy. So
Daphne wanted to say something, and then
Oh.
Sharon wanted to say something.
I wanted to know, like, I haven't done any promoted posts lately. Do you think it's worth it?
Yeah, that's what I came here to
You
find
can
out
see that in
whether
your
it's
stats.
worth it or not.
Mine come from organic, so I don't know. Like, have you done it and has it worked for you?
Yeah, you have to look and see in your stats. It'll show you how much you spent and how much revenue it's brought you. So it's different for everybody.
But it works for you?
It has for me, yeah, but some other people I know haven't. So the best thing is I think just to test it and then.
My research has shown that it's a good thing to do occasionally
Mm-hmm.
because it can drive traffic and then people see things and you'll get a bump. If you do it too often, then you can really spend an awful lot of money.
You can spend a lot of money.
Yeah,
It's
again,
gonna
it's
come
like
up, but
Yeah,
the
you
sales
can
may
budget.
not change.
yeah.
So this is a much better. See, this is another painting that Scott's doing. And this painting is good. American Pharaoh. He's a Triple Crown horse winner, right? So American Pharaoh. I should have had horse. Should have been the first word, but race horse, equine, art,
For a triple crown.
thoroughbred, and I take commissions from original work, so we put that in there, and that gets found all the time with that. So.
Sharon, what was your question?
My question is, let's say somebody really likes that picture.
Yeah.
Can somebody cut and paste that into their computer and then,
You know what? And we have, I said 400 items on eBay, which are, we import bronze and we import crystal from other countries, and they steal our listings all the time because it doesn't matter how you protect it. Anyone can do a screen capture nowadays. They could take that and they could put them on. So a lot of people use our listings. They take our same pictures of our. We sell bronze statues, for instance, and they steal our.
And then
we
what
see our
happens when
we
somebody
see our
orders from
living
them?
room in the background of their.
There's a
And-
picture.
Yeah,
And then you can notify them not
Scott's
to.
been on CSN before it was Wayfair for 10, 12 years. And then because we Google ourselves on a pretty regular basis. And we found him on Walmart, and we found him on Sears.com. And
So they
you
steal.
can send a cease and desist and with a smaller company, but I mean, it's just part of what happens. Yes.
So I have a question. If you wanted to be on Etsy, but you didn't want to do it, are there like professional Etsy shops
There
where,
should be,
where
yeah.
I'm
they
sure.
where
There
they
is
do all
on
the
eBay,
right
yeah.
They
things,
frown
they put
on
in
that
the
though,
tags, they
because they
spend
want
the
it to
time.
be.
That's not the purpose of Etsy, and that was part of the things I wanted to bring up. Etsy is different than Amazon or eBay, and it's very organic. It's handmade. There's a
Those are the
vibe
items,
to it,
yeah.
and Etsy likes it that way. And who else besides there's two other people here who have the shops.
But are you intimidated by doing your?
It's the time,
it's time
the
challenge.
time.
Okay,
Because
yeah,
we've
but
got so many different jobs.
And I understand that, and I know, and my time constraints being in medicine were horrible, but you don't
But
have
you
to
were
spend
tired.
up. I know. I know, but I didn't before, and you're right. I know, but the thing is, if you have 30 things you want to sell in your life, you can do that in 2 nights, right? You can take 3 hours of one night and 3 hours of another night, and you can learn Etsy, and you can list them yourself, and you can learn how to set your profiles, and you can learn and all that in a short time without getting someone else to do it. I don't think you need to do it. You know, and we're the worst tech people, so if I could do it, you could do it. And don't get somebody else to do it, you know? Because they're gonna. And when you sell an item, right, the person puts PayPal, and the money goes into your account. You get an email from PayPal that says, so and so bought your item that you want to sell, and then you know, okay, well, gee, I got to send this out. So how am I going to do that? Well, I'll send it on UPS, or I'll send it by post office. UPS is good because you get a tracking number and so on. So I think you could manage it yourself with very little time. You don't have to do it every day. So you only do the listings once, and then to update it for new items is very simple. That's all. You got a template there from all your other items that you use. You just cut and paste every single one. The other thing I don't know if I can show them.
Hold on, it's a couple more questions. Why don't you?
Yeah, I don't know if he's finished.
He'll jump back in. We're right behind you.
Well, so I have 2 questions. The first one is, so I do sculptures. I do paper mache things. So, and if I put something on Etsy, then I need to hold that out, because they're all one of a kind, so I need to hold that, how long do you leave something on Etsy?
I think if it's sold, then it's sold. If
Right.
somebody buys it in a different
So,
area.
but you have to hold it
Yeah.
out until it, while it's on Etsy.
That's like an inventory management thing, like you can choose to sell it at a show, but then you need to make sure that you
Right.
deactivate it on Etsy. Like you just need to have your own system for managing.
So the answer is yes, you do have to hold it out because it's committed on Etsy.
Exactly. If you
Right.
choose to,
Well,
yeah.
if
even
you
if
choose,
you-
because if you sold it, the minute you sold it, you could just go through your phone and put sold on it, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do you figure out, shipping?
That was my question.
I mean, that's even more.
Don,
Mind
can I do a
boggling.
super
Frustrating
quick
for me.
plug on
What do you
that?
want
Like,
to ship?
I'm sure that
I
people will
should-
have
could you-
different things to say, but this is something that's actually covered in depth in that craft entrepreneurship program that I talked about, and all of those nuts and bolts type stuff. So if you are interested in like more than what we can do here, that's green.
It's the greenhouse.
That's the term. That's it.
Okay.
But when we
Yeah, yeah.
when we print for somebody, we handle the shipping.
But this is 3D.
3D is
Yeah, so
different.
it's,
Yeah.
I mean, I have galleries that complain to me about how hard it is to ship my stuff because it's just always funky. I'm getting better. But, that's the part where, do you just go and you buy the box assuming that you're gonna ship it? So you have the box ready and then you estimate how much it's gonna be based on UPS. I ship FedEx, but it's
Yeah,
fascinating.
you just weigh it.
You just weigh
UPS
it.
gave us a scale. It's a big scale. You can stand on it. It's a free scale, and UPS gives we get an order of 4,000 boxes every 8 weeks. UPS, but they're free, so
Right.
they give us all these different sized boxes. And I don't know, so a lot of things can fit in the boxes you get for free. If you have a 3D item, it's not going to fit in a UPS box. You're going to have to make your own box.
You could start at ABC Liquor.
Yeah, it's not soft.
Yeah,
US
you can
You
United
can
States
get
Postal
liquor boxes,
Service.
you can't
Yeah.
ship by the post office, but FedEx will take them, they don't care what it says.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the United States Postal Office, if you decide to send things through priority mail, you can get free shipping supplies for free, and they will deliver up to 10 of each
Yeah.
type. And also, you can go to the post office and grab them for free boxes of all sizes. So if it's something that'll fit in there, that's another option
Yeah.
to cut down on your packaging.
Is that the ones that also comes to your house?
They can, yeah.
Well, UPS comes to our house every day. So.
Go ahead and
But
jump
we
in.
used to have to buy cardboard boxes at Lowe's.
Yeah.
They have like 4 sizes, and that's
Right.
a very expensive way to carry. But
Yeah,
if
it
you
is.
have big items, that's the
Yeah.
way you go. Because you don't want to
Wholesale
ship your
shipments.
item in a used, the booze containers. We did that at the beginning.
Yeah.
So
Now you could
kind
go
of looks
bulk box.
unprofessional, so you just have to go and buy boxes.
Yeah, you can buy in bulk because that's.
But you can
gonna be
buy them
cheapest.
online at Uline. You can buy them at wholesale. Don't pay
Yeah.
retail.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
order them on. They deliver them. UPS delivers them to
I
your
make
door.
very creative boxes.
Yeah.
But the
And then you
idea is,
can-
I know Joyce's work, and I've seen her pack things. It's they're dogs and cats and
Yeah.
fish and things like that, and they're different shapes.
Yeah.
So the whole thing about Etsy is the ship. I know it's the shipping. It's just, my goodness. Let's say Joyce is on Etsy and she sells 20 things in 1 week. She's got to stop her life and pack up 20 things. And I'm not saying it's not worth it. I'm just saying it's just a.
So I limit
It's
what
a
I
commitment.
It's
Yeah.
Etsy.
But, yeah.
It's Etsy.
So
That's
she's
good.
getting used to it.
Yeah.
Do it at your own pace.
Yeah.
So do
So
they,
that-
I'm sorry, do you have a place on there where you have a certain set amount, or that you just say, put in your zip code and, give you estimated shipping? Is that the way this is
So like
set
if
up?
I know
You
the
can
weight
do-
and the dimensions of
Oh,
the
you
box.
get to set that up?
Yeah, you can do calculated shipping, where it calculates it based on the item's weight and the person's location, or you can do the research yourself. Like I know that first class mail within the United States is $3 for the weight of my prints, so I
Mhm.
set the price myself, so you can do it.
Seriously, no, we're
I wanted to ask Lawrence a question over here. I hardly ever meet any artist that's ever sold anything online, so you're one of the first.
Yeah.
So, are you saying that Etsy's the best place to sell art, or eBay, or
No, not necessarily. I don't know that. I've had lots of websites of my own, and they're hard to people are hard to find me. They're hard to find. They're not going to look up Lawrence Dyer's fine art sort of thing. They're not going to be able to find me on that. But on Etsy, they're searching for some kind of art stuff or something on Etsy. So I find I'm more visible on Etsy than even having my own site, although I have my own site for that and other things anyway.
It's a lot of,
But I don't get a lot of I don't get as much traffic as I do on eBay or Etsy. We get far more traffic on eBay than Etsy, but it's a much bigger.
but there's a lot of online galleries, a lot of them.
There's a lot of online galleries.
And so you tried some of them, and Etsy's the best, or?
Well, and I was at a gallery, you know, the one, Penny's Gallery in Dunedin Village,
Yeah.
and that, I was gonna take an original piece there, and they said, we sell more art online than we do here at a brick and mortar store by
Oh,
far.
sorry.
There's an
Another
awful,
success story, okay.
there's an awful lot of online outlets, and we can have that conversation. I don't want this conversation to veer there.
No.
But between Etsy and Amazon and eBay and Wayfair and depending on the style of your art, who your target market is, and where do they go to buy their stuff is where you should be.
You know, I just wanted to say, from the other side of the angle, I was looking for something for my other job, and I was looking, and I looked on Etsy because I thought I want to support I want to support some person or small business instead of the big bugs. So that was why I definitely went to Etsy, and I thought, well, duh, so I need to be on Etsy. but that, for me, that was why I went to Etsy to buy stuff, and that's a lot of why people go to Etsy.
I do hand lettering and calligraphy for weddings, and the girl was looking specifically for somebody to do hand lettering in the mirror for her stampede wedding. So she searched using the zip code feature on Etsy for Tampa calligraphy, and I was the only person that came up. So I was the only person. I find that hard to believe. I'm the only person, and I know I'm not the only person in the area that's.
Where if she
So
had
it's an
searched on
underused
Pinterest, she might have
feature.
found a few other people.
Yes, exactly. And so it depends. It just is. There's 1,000 online outlets, and choose the ones that work for you.
And I don't know if this plays into it at all either, but I like to use my alt tags. All my images, my JPEGs, they're all named. They're not like
Yes.
1, 2, 3, 4. It may say hematite necklace or copper necklace or 7th anniversary gift.
You need to name every single photo you post on Etsy. It has to have a name when you upload it. If it says IMG 906, it's no good, but if it says copper necklace, then that's gonna appear in images.
Even in
Google.
Google, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
if
good to
somebody
know.
types in copper necklace, that image is gonna pop up, so you gotta title every image you upload.
So if you have your-
the tag words, is that what you're saying?
No, you have to title the photograph that you upload.
Your sculpture will have a name, like,
Title
Right.
it, title it
So
with
it's
keywords.
So it's Rex and Bubbles.
Like in
Nobody
your
knows.
case, you would
I would title it, equine, triple crown winner. Three
Right.
So
words
you
to
should
tag
put
the
words,
photo, and
right,
then when,
that's what I'm saying.
somebody Googles triple crown winner and goes to images, that'll come up under that'll come up. See? Even though it's on
Right.
Etsy or eBay or
Right,
something, it'll
right,
still
right.
come up in
Okay.
images, so you gotta title every photograph you upload.
So I might have gotten this mixed up in my brain. When you're on Etsy and you title it,
Well, you title it on your computer,
Right.
your file, you don't title it on Etsy.
no,
Then
right,
you
on your
just-
file,
then
right.
you say, it says go and browse and find it, when you find it, it's gonna be labeled with a keyword. Instead
Right.
of what it really is, it might be a picture of your hand with a ring on it, and you've got, Cindy's hand, because that's the way you did it, but you need to put that this is not a copper jewelry, you need to label it with a
Yeah.
keyword.
But once it's on Etsy,
Yeah,
Google picks it up also?
Yeah.
Google picks up all images.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Scott.
You guys watermark your pictures.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
figure a certain
Well, yeah,
amount.
you can watermark, you're worried about copyright.
You can.
Most people do.
My philosophy on watermarks is
Yeah.
that,
It's a lot.
like, I'm an artist, but I
Yeah.
also, like, first and foremost have an e-commerce storefront, so I want it to look a certain way. And I don't like look down on people that watermark their images, but for me, like, watermarking my image just doesn't make my shop look the way that I want it to. If somebody is going to, number one, steal my listing photo and try to sell it on their own, what's gonna happen when somebody places that order? I don't need to worry about that, that's gonna sort itself out business wise.
So the other thing.
If somebody wants to not pay me $20 and instead print it out and hang it on their wall, they're not my customer anyway. They're not my target market. So I haven't found it to be an issue, but some people have. So again, that just goes back to some people have had issues and have chosen to do it.
Like on several podcasts I listen to,
Yeah.
it's a big controversy. Do you watermark or not?
Yeah.
You
you know, I was looking for a logo and I found this really great looking logo and it had a watermark on it. It looked
Yes.
even better with a watermark.
You look over watermark.
Character.
But when you're talking about photos, uploading them on Etsy, because this is an Etsy conference, you're allowed 5 photos across the top of the item. So you should load not one item. If you only have one photograph of it, don't load just the one photograph. Load that photograph and then crop it and load the second one of it up close. So all 5 photos have to be there to increase your search engine optimization. And every one photo should have a different, the first one will say copper necklace, the second one will say anniversary necklace, the third one will say anniversary jewelry, even though it's just the same photo cropped 5 different ways. Now you've increased your search engine optimization hugely, 5 times.
Plus you've
Even though you
increased,
only had one image to start with, so we crop them and put them
and you've
all-
increased your credibility because people can't go into a gallery and look at your painting or go and pick up your jewelry and try it on. So the more you see all the different ways that you can
Yeah, if you
show
show your images,
close-ups,
how you
angles.
photograph.
This is just a random listing that I pulled up, so.
Who else had questions? You have a question? Did it get answered?
No, I was just thinking about when you post things, do they get lost or anything like that? You really come lost and your stuff going missing or anything? Or the mail
Shippers should track it.
yeah,
You have to track it with your shipper.
right.
Make sure you track it.
Because I know some things that they send something out to the person instead of getting received, like, and then they have to refund money, they know all kinds of problems.
Some of those people are liars.
Yeah, this is what she thought. She thought that they pretended they didn't receive it and the check was done.
You have to go with the post office and they'll show you the tracking. They can print it out for you to show it's delivered.
And then you can track the number online.
And depending on the value, some of it's insured. You should say FedEx Ground insures everything up to $100. Over that, extra. But if that's coming from you go to FedEx,
So the person would have a sign for it, right?
oh well, there's other options sometimes.
They can also track.
Just because it's insured doesn't mean it's.
And again, that's probably some of that stuff that they go into in the detail at the greenhouse.
Yes.
Polishing and stuff. Who here has had experience with Etsy that has not been positive? Anybody?
Well, I didn't sell anything.
I
I guess that would be in the positive.
Yeah.
There we
It's not
go.
necessarily in the negative, but it's not positive.
So you wanna talk about that?
So
real
why
quick?
do you think you haven't sold?
Oh, I had 3 prints out there. It was, it's not. I just didn't have the exposure. I didn't know how to use the tags. I didn't know how to use, the proper keywords. I think it was probably boiled down to my lack of experience and really giving it that much effort. I just thought I'd give it a whirl with the few prints that I have. So, and never sold anything, and just kind of, they expired and never re-listed. So that's my experience with Etsy.
What
When
was
you
yours?
said who's on Etsy, I'm like, yep, well, I was.
There's our Hoff.
Do they automatically expire after?
Yeah.
What is it, 3 or 4 months?
4 months.
We're expired.
We're expired.
I think that if you don't want to get involved in learning a new platform, learning how to list, learning SEO, packing, shipping, figuring all that, if you don't want to get involved in that kind of stuff, then e-commerce might not be for you. You might really, but we run our own businesses, and if I know that if I start to hate what I'm doing, why do I want to even do it anymore? There's no point. So I've felt very comfortable in e-commerce. But if you don't, I don't think that there's so many different ways to sell work these days that it's not like if you don't sell on Etsy, you're going to fail and you're going to end up better. It just might not be for you,
I'm a painter.
but
I
if you
love to
want to
paint.
try,
The
then.
rest, whatever. I just want to paint.
So maybe something like Fine Art America might be a better site for you, where you can put your pieces up there and they handle the fulfillment for you.
Fine art America.
Yeah.
Who was that guy? Who was the guy that you just had last month? Chris Hubbard? Chris,
Right.
for local artists, that's something you should look into too.
Absolutely, absolutely. The video for that's going up. Last month we were talking about how to answer calls for city events and government events, and go and put your stuff up on.
So how much does fineart.com take? Is it like 50% commission?
I don't know anything about it. It's a whole different conversation. Tonight we're talking about Etsy.
Yeah.
But like I said before, there's as many different online outlets. The reason we wanted to feature Etsy is that Etsy has become very formidable in the industry for traditional artists and photographers who are selling originals. It's a grassroots effort that has a lot of oomph behind it, and it is beating Pinterest, it's beating Amazon for bringing traffic. The bottom line is, if you're an artist and you want to sell your art, you have to be where the art buyers are.
Right.
Nobody wants to wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and pitch the white tent. But if you want to sell art, then you must go where the art buyers are. And if that's where you can sell, then that's where you can sell. So there's a gazillion and 20, and if you only want to sell originals, then a Fine Art America won't work for you.
It won't?
Probably not.
It's to prints?
So there's a gazillion, and again, there's a gazillion and 20 places, and we can have that conversation. We'll have that conversation later.
Tired already.
It's exhausting.
But you also don't need to be everywhere. You know,
Exactly.
that's
Just need a
intimidating
personal
too, to see
assistant,
this
Marilyn.
list
Just need a
of.
personal assistant.
I need one.
You need one.
So who wants to be one? Fine.
I know about 7, I'll introduce you.
I have another job.
Scott, how much time do you spend creating art? Except for when you get a deadline.
Well, very little time anymore. I do get orders where I'm doing a different size or changing the colors and stuff. Like I just had someone walk in last Saturday and over a large piece, and I had to rework it and finish it today, and I'm delivering it this weekend. I have created a new line, like designer squares. And I had some good creative time in that the last couple of weeks.
But you kind of sort of had to schedule that in.
But it's almost like I have a full-time job, just marketing my own artwork, printing here.
Very little time for actually making something.
It's not what I imagined and what most artists imagine, and we all want to just create and spend 80% of our time creating.
Yeah.
I think that
If you want to sell, you have your own business, and you have to be a business person and create a business that fulfills all the functions of a business. You know, marketing, selling, fulfillment, shipping. Like I didn't realize when I started I was going to be building boxes.
Yeah.
And now I buy sheets of cardboard that are 50 by 100 inches, you know, and I'm cutting them and scoring them and folding them. And I got a big carton stapler, a pneumatic carton stapler. And I never imagined I would be doing that, but you know, that's part of what the business is. And, you know, we used to go and bring it to like the pack and send place, but we charge $100 to pack it up. You know, you can't really afford to do that. You can't charge your client $120 for handling and then shipping on top of it.
I will say that the number one thing that people that go through the craft entrepreneurship class say is because by the end of the class, the goal is to have an open Etsy shop with at least one active product that people can buy, and people go, "I don't open a shop yet. I only have one thing. It looks really bad." You know, and it's this tendency to be like, "Well, I don't want people to see that because that's not what I want it to look like. So I'm going to wait till it looks perfect and then I'm going to launch. It's never going to look perfect."
Right.
So if you are interested in it, you know that you have to be okay with it being a work in progress. You know, and that showing that part of yourself and being like, okay, photos that I posted when I first opened my shop suck. They just suck. And now they're much better. Are they the best they can ever be? I don't know. You know, but you have to be okay with just opening it and taking that leap and learning as you go. That's been my plan.
I
And
do
you gotta
want-
jump in with both feet, no doubt about it. You know, you're right, it isn't gonna be perfect, and it's always a work in progress. But that gives you an incentive to really get moving it and improve it when it isn't quite right.
Nobody's gonna find you when you're big and go, oh my gosh, I remember finding your shop the day after you opened it and you only had one hanging up. I'm gonna lambast you to the meeting. Like that's just not gonna what's gonna happen? The worst that's gonna happen is that somebody's gonna find your shop and they're not gonna want to buy anything. But as you grow it, then that becomes.
And the worst thing is zero sales, right?
Yes.
So from this, I've taken it's more of a forgiving platform to start a website. I've started a website. Love my girlfriend that's been helping me with it. This is a business relationship, and I'm finding out she's more like my girlfriend. And but I've paid her handsomely, and it is driving me up a wall because I need somebody to take me by the hand and say, here's their story, and it be edited. And I've gone to my friend that's at USF and helped me with it. I've sent my story around to a couple of people to help me with it. This seems so much more doable to me because I don't have to do all of my WordPress stuff. And it doesn't have to be dead on perfect. I'm not Macy's yet.
Yeah.
But what I want is something that's simple and that's I can genify myself and it be organically me. And then it can be like,
Because
It's
And then-
it's a marketplace, so you give up some of the flexibility
because I
of
like that
having.
bohemian style of it, and I like the fact that if my kids wanted to make something, they could throw something in there. They've already decided they want to have their own lipstick lines and what they're going to be called and everything. But I want something that's that forgiving factor, because when I'm looking at web designs, I'm so critical, and maybe it's just me with that business sense of being overly critical because I want perfection, you know.
Yeah, I mean, you can make this.
And this seems more like a baby
something
step
the
for
thing
me.
that you give up in exchange for the not having to pay the domain fee, the whole web hosting fee, and all of that stuff is the flexibility of having your very own web design that's so unique. But there are things that you can do, like you said, to genify that you can have banners and your photography style and your about story, and that's a really good way to put it. That it is way more forgiving than some other options.
But you cannot drive you to your website through Etsy, right?
No.
That is not allowed.
You can have it up there, but you can have it, they have a place where on your profile, but what they discourage is like the first sentence in the listing, you go to my website to buy this. And that kind of driving it away from Etsy because that's how they make their money.
I
You can
want
have both.
I want to throw in a plug for the need for good photos.
That's true.
You are known by the way people see you, and if you have something up there and you're not getting the sales that you want, you might want to take a look at your photography. And if you need help, see, here's the beautiful thing. I listened to something this morning, and he's talked about the difference between an entrepreneurial mind and a worker bee mind. And an entrepreneur has a problem and goes, great, this is now on my to-do list of something I need to learn about and solve. And if that's your viewpoint, you can't help but to be successful because you just refuse to give up. You will not fail. And if you look at that and you go, the runway to start is so long, and I've got to learn this, and I've got to do that. You know, do your art as your joy. Do it as a hobby. Share it with people when you can, and forgive yourself for that. Stuff like this is constantly changing. The rules are constantly changing, and so therefore you have to have an insatiable curiosity to figure out SEO. I mean, a doctor that understands SEO. How many years ago, another doctor, how many years ago, this was not a conversation that was mainstream.
Now almost everybody.
And not only does almost everybody know, but you have to know it. So it's okay. It's okay to do Etsy. It's okay not to do Etsy. But if you're going to do it, then you have to keep looking at the people who are selling and analyze what are they doing that I'm not doing. And
I'll give you a good example. Exactly what you said. The photos are important. I know a person, and they have jewelry like this, and he has 60 listings, and he had the listings for 6 months, and all his jewelry, he was told, photograph it on a white background. So he did that. He made no sales. So a month ago, he saw something like what's up here, and he photographs his jewelry with a very, 20 meg camera or something, and he put it on these kind of backgrounds. Immediately, he sold 7 items the second day he had the system. So the
There you go.
importance of loading a photograph that you're going to drool over, that's how they was,
Absolutely.
that will sell your items. So the importance, you can't underestimate, you have to be a photographer, not just an entrepreneur. How do you get great photography?
Well,
of
we
this,
teach people how to.
of this, yeah, so you got to take
Pictures
great
for-
photographs.
And this is an
or
example of why
less
that's
That's
important,
so
because
hard.
SEO is the number one most important, because you won't get found at all. But then,
Yeah.
I searched for statement necklace on here. These are all different sellers that came up in the search result. So I'm gonna go to the photograph that grabs my eye, and if it's a poor
Exactly.
photograph, I'm not
That's
even
the
gonna
point.
click on it.
Right.
So you can have the best SEO in the world. Your photos suck,
You
I'm
gotta
just gonna
have
click through
photos
yours.
to drool over, so yeah.
Yeah.
But you don't even see the top one.
The top one's lost.
Or the one on white, can you see
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
No one's gonna click on
Yeah.
that one on white, but they look at the girl next to it or the one below it,
Below
you're gonna
it's the
click
one,
because
yeah.
they're attractive to your eye.
Well, it shows you how it fits on the neck.
Exactly,
Whether
yeah.
it's getting close to your throat area or if it has room.
And the other thing is you have to think like a buyer. So, would I be comfortable with something that close on my neck?
Right.
I don't know. Somebody else might say, I love keeping my neck cover. So it's put yourself into the head of your potential buyer and over and over and over again, and think like them. And if you don't get, part of the joy of doing art festivals, and I know I always harp on this, but that's because I think it's so important, is you can look at somebody and you can say, do you like this? Yes or no, and why? And you can get immediate face-to-face feedback. So for artists that say, I want to go and I want to create, I'm sorry, I'm going to pick on you for 30 seconds. I want to create and I don't want to market myself. If somebody tells me what they do or don't like about your art and then I communicate that to you, it's going through my filter. So you now have the opportunity to say, yes, but would you like it if it's a horizontal? He gets so mad at me. That's a vertical. I don't care. They give me money. It's a horizontal. You know? Take the bestine, change your signature, cha-ching. You know, if what you want to do is oh, and if you're talking to people, then you can get that kind of feedback. If you're showing that kind of stuff, you can get that kind of feedback. If you're working in your ivory tower and you're letting somebody else do your marketing for them, you're giving them all the power.
My best-selling products have come from customers finding my shop and going, I wonder if she would do something like this and emailing me. And now it's like a whole thing.
And you say, I'm going to 5X it and never sell it again, or I'm going to give it to you this price, but I can sell it later.
In advertising, it's ADA, attention, interest, desire, action.
Exactly.
But then also there's a feedback. So that's what you said, you want to know the feedback. Why did you make the sale?
Right.
And maybe some feedback from the customer. Like. But the important part is attention, interest, desire, and the action. You got to have the action for them to buy it.
Gotta have it. Gotta have it. Scott's number one top selling piece
ADA,
is that
attention,
somebody,
interest,
he had 2 pieces,
desire,
and somebody
action.
said, listen,
So
I
you gotta
need
make the
3
sale.
because my couch is just long. Would you take this one and flip it? He's like, yeah, okay. Sounds interesting.
I think that people are so often looking for like that magic shot thing that nobody has anything negative to say about, and it just will never ever exist. Ever.
Right.
So you have to sift through all that and sort of make some sort of thought.
And the other thing I want to comment on to the visual artists, and it probably would work for the jewelers as well, is people like companion pieces. So if you're going to paint one, if you're going to photograph one, do 2. Because I got 2 chairs. I got to put one over this chair and one over that chair.
Right.
I got a couch and it's not big enough. I got a bed and it's not big enough, so I want one here and one there. A diptych.
Or a triptych.
I got the necklace I want the earrings.
I got the necklace, I want the
That's how I
earrings.
am. I want
Yeah.
the whole collection. Yeah.
Yeah. So again, you think about your, because then when you go shopping, when you go to Macy's and you're watching people, you know, it's kind of fun. You know, sort of trying to figure out what makes
Then tick.
What makes them mine? And why?
No, and there's something else I think helps with Etsy too, is those links, linking back to another item inside your shop. Because some of the top ones have at least 3 links linking back and forth.
people who like us alike.
Yeah, like you may say if you like want to see more copper jewelry or the matching necklace or the matching or the whatever companion piece or whatever, then I noticed that I've started those items seem to rank higher on Etsy for me.
So you have your jewelry on the left side of the top listed in different
Categories.
categories.
But
right?
in the description,
Oh,
I
you're
have links that
backlinking.
link
That's
that
why.
link back.
Yeah,
to
Because
the
backlinks
category.
are favorable for SEO because it means people are referring you. So if you refer yourself, it will help. If you do it reasonably,
Yeah.
where it makes sense.
Yeah.
And your earrings are some of the copper jewelry that you're selling.
Yeah. So like for this one, I may have like a link back to see more hematite jewelry because there's hematite in this, or a link back to see more copper jewelry, or see the matching necklace. And that way you have those backlinks inside. So you may have your abstract art link back to see fine art or whatever you do. I don't know. I haven't done art in a long time. I don't know about you though. But the links I think help.
So, Christine, I have a question for you. What do you do to boost your Etsy visibility by using social media, blogs? Tell me what you do for blogs or for Facebook. What do you use those tools to increase your Etsy sales?
I think
That's
that
one thing we don't know anything about.
I think that the answer to that is a whole nother session because the answer to that is social media. But Etsy does have
Well, yeah, but I know about
integrations.
Facebook and we know about
Right. So
different
Etsy does
so-
have integrations where you can like a product directly from the page. You can share it to your friends. You can also tweet it directly from the page.
and Pinterest.
And you can link your Facebook. There isn't a Pinterest integration, but you can link your Facebook and your Twitter so people can like you directly from your Etsy shop. So
do you use those? Do you think those
I do,
are
yeah. And
valuable?
at a bare minimum, I think it's nice that they provide those.
So we should be doing that.
Yeah, and after you also post a listing, it gives you the opportunity. It says, great, your listing is live. Go see it in your shop or share it to your followers. And that's a whole nother discussion because it's how much you want to promote. But you can. So if I have a new line that's coming up sometimes, if I post the first print in that series, I'll tweet it out and Facebook it and go, hey, there's a new collection coming out. And you can do that right from the confirmation page where you've posted your listing.
I don't know.
So if you're doing social media like Facebook and you're saying I have a new line coming out, then you just tell people go to my Etsy page.
Yeah, because when you set up your shop, you've told Etsy in the settings what your shop is. So when you post a listing, it says, great, share this with your followers. It's all in their code. So I hit that button, it comes up with a little pop-up that is logged into Facebook, and I just write what I want to write, and I hit publish. So there is some integration.
It's cool. It
Do
goes
you know how to
directly.
do that?
I think so. It goes automatically. Like she's saying, when you're publishing that item, it tells you now share it.
When you're, so I've said publish.
Right.
Where do you go after that?
Yeah,
It's up top.
Maybe,
Probably when you're
It's
doing
up
maybe you
top.
can pull it up
settings.
and show
Yeah.
us.
Yeah, I'll
that?
show you. I think I have an inactive listing I can
Do
show
you
you.
have your own page on Facebook?
I do.
God has
Yeah.
it.
Oh.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's bigger than the Etsy. Yeah, I have
A
a huge.
business page.
A business. Well, actually, it's not under business. No, it's
Under your personal
It's a
page.
personal
make
page for
business,
certain-
Like a business page.
well, I've made them both. Yeah, I have
Okay.
more than
Just
one.
making sure you got that one.
Well, I like the Facebook as
Okay,
a
so you
tool
just
because
updated it.
on Etsy I can only list the things I got for sale, 60 items, okay? But on my Facebook page I have 200 items that aren't for sale. There's all kinds of, they can look at all my past art that's not for sale. It gives you a huge visibility and a whole bunch of more images.
So here it
to find.
is.
So
Here
it's
it
not
is.
just
So I
what
just
you sell,
posted a
it's
new
everything
product.
you want to sell.
So I just published
So-
a brand new product
Okay.
that I'd never listed before,
Thank
and
you.
it says your listing is active. And so
Okay.
when you click on
Share.
share here, it'll give you if you've linked your accounts. So say I
So-
want to share this on Facebook.
You share it on Facebook. Okay. Oh, I see. Log in. And I didn't understand what the
Well,
Pinterest button is.
it should work, I
In
don't
the
know.
middle. So if you push the
It might-
Pinterest button, what happens there?
I guess they do have an integration though. I didn't know.
Yeah, it's huge because we get that all the time.
Yeah.
People are posting my images onto Pinterest,
Mm-hmm.
and it doesn't go on their Pinterest site. They sell it to all their friends, and people I never heard of say I saw this on my friend's Pinterest page. So I think that's a valuable tool.
It's
Hugely.
Yeah.
And we don't use it, so.
We can pin anything we want, but we
And the
can
same
get
with that
it up.
Facebook. I don't use, I don't tweet, so.
Lawrence, we can pin anything, any image that comes up
Yeah.
into our Pinterest page,
And
whether
that
you
just-
know it or not.
And that just brings
Because I've done
visibility,
that.
right? Is that what
I
you're
take
saying?
art that I like and I pin it into
Oh.
my Pinterest art that I love page.
But if I click that Pinterest button there, see, I don't know where that is. I don't know what that does. Where that goes.
Well, on your particular site,
My site.
it's, if you don't have a Pinterest set up, you
Oh.
won't have a Pinterest button.
So that, that Pinterest is when they see, they put that on their site, and then that pins my
Correct.
thing to their, I got
Yeah.
it. Oh, okay.
Helps you spread.
Okay.
So,
That's not a tool I use, that's a tool that the buyers use. Okay, sorry.
No, we use it.
oh, I mean, you can.
Yeah.
For me buying things, no, but.
No, when
how
you're
is it-
selling.
Really?
I try to post one thing a day. You know, about pieces, just try to get exposure.
How do I post an art piece and?
When you create your own board on Pinterest, and you post pieces there, it'll appear in other people's feeds, and then they can like it to their feed.
They different boards, triple crown winner.
Well, I want to invite, everybody's welcome to stick around for a little bit, continue the conversation, but I really want to thank our ringers for coming and sharing their stories. Thank you very much. We're not kicking you out, we just want to be respectful of time and give people an opportunity to continue the conversations in not such a controlled environment. So feel free to stay, there's still some more meatballs and wine left.
Inspiring it.